your Week 8 slacko, and also from the Spectrum and Daily News. Today we're bringing you a very special interview with fantasy football legend Cody Ferdinando, one of the greatest that ever played in the BTS, as you all are aware, since you've all lost to him many, many times. We're very grateful for Mr. Ferdinando joining us today, and we're going to talk to him a bit about each of you. But first, I understand that Mr. Ferdinando, that you have some causes that you would like to promote here today.
Hi everyone. I'm just glad I can make it here because I have a really busy schedule. When I'm not dominating fantasy leagues, I'm really involved in the community. A couple of which I like to talk about today and raise some awareness is one, the Special Olympics. Those guys mean so much to me, and I feel like I've made a big dent. And I just want to promote them and everything they do. And
if you don't mind me interrupting you, I understand that you were involved in a special fundraising event for the Special Olympics a few years ago.
I was. We hit those neighborhoods really hard. We took our message door to door, and it didn't exactly cause the stir that I would have liked. Yeah. But overall, I think it went really well. So
it is really disappointing that Bryson Cornaby, the young man for whom you were raising funds, really didn't apply himself in his golf to make the Special Olympics. Does that hurt to know that he didn't take that effort to make the Special Olympics after all you did for him?
Like I said, I'm busy winning fantasy leagues.
Yes.
I'm very dominant.
Yeah.
That's no secret. So when I take my time, which is very valuable, out to help somebody that's less fortunate, I expect them to give themselves their all. And he didn't really apply himself, and it showed. His words were slurring. He couldn't form sentences. I didn't feel like he was trying.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah. Now, I know you have one other cause to get to, but before we get to that, I wanted to pick up on something you just said, talking about how you spend your time building fantasy franchises that are, of course, legendary and have won you many things. I really see that as the difference between, say, you and then a Connor or a Spain, teams that have historically struggled, is that you don't spend all your time on the message boards. You spend your time actually building your team.
Right. I mean, I think there's a time and a place for everything, and you can only spend so much time doing research. A lot of it is just up here. You either got it up there or you don't, and clearly those guys are lacking in certain areas. So.
Good. All right. So besides the Special Olympics, what other causes near and dear to your heart to bring you into our studios today?
Well, honestly, I spend a lot of time traveling the world. These people pay me money to go and essentially just live the high life because I'm winning, championships and things for them and whatever. I recently spent some time in Wyoming, and I came across a foundation that really was near and dear to my heart. Women's suffrage. There's a foundation down there that really just touched me, and right now we're doing an investigation because I've become very active in that on a Rio. He's actually in this league. Some scarves came up missing, and we have reason to believe that he may have taken them. So they're causing women's suffering right now. So we're hoping that gets brought to light and we can bring him to justice. So.
Yeah, I've noticed him wearing those women's scarves. I found it very disturbing. I think that individual really needs some help.
Right, I think that's why he moved to Wyoming, is because he needed to be closer to women's scarves.
Yes, and women are more likely to wear scarves in Wyoming than any other state. It is the capital of women's suffrage, as you know.
Right, no, absolutely. And that's why I like to spend some time there. And like I said, if we can bring him to justice, that'd be great. So.
Yeah. All right, turning now to the individual owners in your league. I'd like to ask you a bit about each and every one of them, starting with the far north and with McCrae.
I've always been about, what have you done for me lately? And for me, McCrae hasn't done anything for me lately. So, I see no other reason than to demote his name instead of McCrae to Macaroni.
Macaroni it is.
Macaroni, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about Danny Loveland.
Oh, where do I begin? I don't like the guy. I've spent a lot of time talking with him, and it just comes to a certain point where you're just not clicking with an individual. And when he's not flipping tires in his spare time, I really think that he's on the roids, and I really think that he's dressing up as the Hulk on Halloween and terrorizing little children. And I really don't think that's acceptable, and I don't like it. So
I don't like it either. In fact, I hear there's some petitions to get him removed from neighborhoods on Halloween.
Yeah, that's true. However, he overpowers the police force with his muscles, so there's no real action happening with that. So we're going to have to bring in more troops.
All right, let's turn next to a man we already mentioned as a scarf stealer, Rio.
Yeah, the investigation's still pending, but we have some concrete evidence. There was a video that was released to the public, and you guys probably all saw it. Really, the only thing that he demonstrated to everybody in that video is, one, how to not wear women's scarves and to not drink and drive. And like I said, investigation's pending. So.
All right, we turn next to the worldwide leader in logic, Connor Schoen.
Yeah, it seems like he's got something to say about everything, and any way you slice it, he's right about 6% of the time, every time. So, any way you slice it, that's just kind of how it works. So.
All right, we turn now to the Dixieland division with Cody Aiden.
Cody. I spent a lot of time with Cody, and I got to know him really well. And we all know that he's, he's pretty high up in the cell phone industry, and I don't know, you guys paid attention to our matchup last week. I killed him. And well, for me anyway, I feel no reason to refer to him on the same level as myself. The correct Cody won in that matchup, and I think that we should all refer to him as the cell phone boy going forward.
Very good. Next up is Casey Nuttall.
Casey. If I was, I don't know where he is or what he's doing right now, but I could probably bet money that he's probably planning his quitting the league speech already for next year. And let's see what else I have about him. Yeah, I mean, if it seems like his team is being run by a child, it probably is. Either that, or he's wondering how we can get DeAndre Jordan in the basketball league. One of those. So.
Yeah. All right, let's turn now to Zach.
If I wasn't petitioning for women's suffrage in Wyoming, I'd probably be petitioning for gay rights. And I think it's my time to bring it up. And I don't know which way he swings. I can't put my finger on it. So I would like to raise the awareness of that. And honestly, I'd be a bad person if I didn't bring up his sexuality right now.
I do know the way he's swinging lately is towards the bottom of the league.
Right. There's nothing going down on the division.
Yes. All right, that brings us to Breck Dockstader, who's having a surprisingly good year.
Yeah, and funny you should mention that, because I'm pretty sure you could have a bunch of free agents in Peyton Manning and have a great season anyway and be above 500. Breck, to me, hasn't really proven himself, and, he's had a losing season every year that he's been in the league, as far as I can remember. So, well, it'll be interesting to see how he finishes, but he's probably planning to trade him to Spain for $5, which would then conclude all of Spain's money for next year. So, that's probably happening as we speak.
Yeah, on that note, it's probably time to turn to the South and talk about the drama queen himself, Andrew Spainhour.
Yeah, as you guys are probably aware, we just finalized a big deal. Gio's going to be winning the championships for the next few years. I pretended like I didn't know who he was, and it worked in my favor. And then the $35 didn't hurt any. And let's see. Spainhour, if I have any advice for you, it's just to enjoy the regular season while you can, because when the playoffs hit, we all know what happens in the playoffs. You falter, and you know what? It brings me to some comparing right now. I kind of compare you to Karl Malone in a way. Very dominant in what you do, and were for many years. But you got desperate towards the end, and decided to sell your soul and move on over to a more favorable position. And then in the end, you still didn't win the championship, and the curse may continue. So.
Yeah, this guy is the Chicago Cubs.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
All right, that brings us to Spencer.
If there's anything I can say about Spencer, is that he is not the real Vincent. That goes without question. Vincent, when you're in the game and you're scoring 30 points and you get tired and the game is out of hand, you decide to sit on the bench, and then that Vincent comes in.
Yes.
I think that goes without saying.
Yes, he's clearly the Vincent number 2 in this league.
Number 2.
All right, that brings us to James.
James. Yeah, James. Well, his season isn't looking too good. And I can draw comparisons between his season and his ankle. Dark and dreadful. It's ugly. Ugliest thing I've ever seen. And let's see. Yeah, it's just not a pretty sight in James Lane. So
Yeah.
I don't see it getting better. I really don't.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Canadian player in this league. He's patriotic, but you wonder what for.
Yeah, what's the point, What's the point?
Yeah. All right, going now to your own division, the Ferd and Fries, where you were meshed in there with a bunch of fries.
Yeah.
Ferd with a side of fries. Tell us a bit about the fries.
Well, I'll start off with Chase.
Okay.
He is the only fry that didn't get any athletic ability. I don't know how to slice it any other way. Yeah, it's a Connor reference. He just can't do anything well. I really don't like being around him. He's kind of annoying. Honestly, I don't know. Anyway, I'll move on.
Of course, you've had quite the rivalry over the years with Blair, the Big Hair Classic, even though he's apparently shorn his afro and not been quite the same player. What can you say about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's the only fry that can actually grow an afro, and that's not a compliment. It's a terrible look. Maybe in the 70s it was great, but right now that's not in, and I feel like this video is gonna be good for him. Maybe he'll change. So.
And then we get finally to Mitch Fry.
Mitch, man, I mean, he is the only fry that's always gonna have cold hands, because they don't make a quadruple X mitten. They just don't do it. And even if they did, think about the manpower and resources that would take. It's impossible. It just doesn't happen. So, that's all.
Thank you, Ferd. We would like to thank Cody Ferdinando for joining us and taking time out of his busy schedule. And, he's a lot busier than the rest of us, so we really appreciate him spending these last 10 minutes with us.
No problem.